Okay. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for coming today. Once again, my name is Jhonery Mendoza, and I work at the Office of International Student Services. And today we are here to kind of have a conversation in regards to a topic that we're very passionate about, and I'm talking about Tarek and myself. And it is about student engagement, especially when it connects to service learning. So we have a couple of questions, and we want to make sure that we make it as interactive as possible. Our goal is to try to have a conversation and not just be here and presenting some information or creating just some sort of agenda for you guys. We just want to have a conversation and kind of connect with this topic. So the topic that we have for today is making a global impact, exploring the benefits of student engagement and active citizenship.
Thank you. So we're going to start off, like Jhonery is saying, it's going to be very conversational. So we're really hoping you guys kind of embrace that with us and just answer these questions with us and just go for it, even if you don't know the 100% correct answer, because there is no such thing. But the first thing would be, what is global impact, and what do you guys think that means, and how does that relate to us and as students necessarily? Anybody? One person. I will stare at you. Yes.
Okay, I'm not sure if I'm gonna be right, but just like you can make an impact in your community, you can make an impact globally. And to make an impact globally, first you have to start small, and then if you made an impact on this community, they will agree with you, and then it will end up, growing and growing and growing and end up becoming globally impactful. Thank you.
You just stole the whole presentation, but thank you. Y'all can go home now. What else? What is global impact? Or if you just think about it, what does impact mean? Because we use this term a lot whenever we're talking about something like, I'm going to make an impact, but what does that mean necessarily? And how do you measure it? A change? Right next to you. Say it anyway. Say it to the mic.
You can make a change based on what you decided to do, so your action have like a purpose, as a way of saying.
Okay, purposeful action. I like it. Anybody else want to give it a go? Yes. I'll come to her. It's fine.
Okay, so putting aside religion and different cultures, I think to make an impact is having something that everybody can agree upon and that everybody can work towards, no matter what country, what religion, what culture. It's something that it's global. Everybody can agree upon and work towards that change.
Thank you. That was wonderful. Cool. So global impact is essentially everything that you guys have been saying, right? It's somehow putting a way that we can measure how we change the world or how we are making a global change necessarily, but finding a way to make sure that, like, I can say today I started off in this percentage of whatever, and then in 10 years I am currently here. And the main problem that we face a lot of times right now is that we say impact, and we're like sustainable impact, for example, but we don't know how to really measure the things that we're doing. And that kind of ties into this whole concept of how do we as students create that global impact locally that creates it into or changes into a global impact by making sure that we measure the things that we do here on, well, necessarily Miami for right now.
Okay, very well. And also in this image, it has kind of like our fingerprint in the world. That's kind of what it means as well as having a global impact. It's just no matter if the idea is small or big, it's supposed to create an impact in the world, a fingerprint in the world. Okay, so now what is a student engagement? What do we understand about student engagement? Anyone? Okay, yes. Mike is coming.
I think it's how actively involved you are in your community, what projects you're working towards, even if it's something small, just engaging with your community.
Yeah, very well. Anyone else?
You have to sit far, man.
All right. Engagement is like when you decided to take a step forward and get out of your comfort zone and just like do it, because sometimes it's just It's hard, but when you do it, you feel really good, and that's like an engagement.
Okay, very well. This is a very involved group. Yes, there is another thought right here.
I think it's like being present and contributing to society and whoever's around you, just like showing up and being there and helping out, being engaged.
Very well. Any other thoughts?
I think it's like going beyond just the bare minimum of what's expected of you, and usually contributing to something that's not necessarily like for personal gain.
Very good. Any other thoughts? There's one more thought.
Well, I think being engaged is being involved. And that's it.
Okay. Very good. All of them excellent answers, and they all connect with student engagement. The fact that you're here today, it shows also your engagement. You are engaged into spending 1 hour instead of just being outside, taking the sun. You're here, connecting with other people, and engaging about a topic that relates to global impact. Okay. Engagement is it also, when it comes to the academics, you can also have engagement with your professors, with your mentors, with different people that inspire you throughout your journey at FIU. The engagement that we want to concentrate on is the one that you all share, is how to get engaged with our community, how to get engaged with our world. So the next couple of slides are going to be about engaging with the community and also making an impact in the world.
Which is where we come to active citizenship and this term. Who has heard the term active citizenship before? Maybe one, no more than one. ISSS, active citizenship. Yes. So what is active? What does it mean then? If you just hear it, you don't know what it is. I'm just like, okay, very random active citizen. What does it look like? She's coming.
Well, from the name of it, like being an active citizen, like, being involved and active in your, like maybe community, but it has to do like with your country. Like maybe an active citizenship would be like being involved in activities that have to do with the army or something. Okay. I can't think of anything else, but.
Anybody else? What does it mean to be an active citizen?
Or like voting and being part of the the decisions of the government.
Claudia?
Working for the world.
Yes. What else? How do we connect active citizenship with global diversity or with global impacts? How do they connect? Do they connect? How are you being a student, an engaged student, as an active citizen at the same time? Yes.
Always come down to your action, because like engagement and impact, active is all like an action or like a verb that describe being action as a way of saying. So in a way, when you do an action or engagement, you're being active citizenship.
True. And Jhonery will go over a little bit more in detail about like what active citizenship looks like and like what is sort of a cycle about it. But like, let's take, for example, I am an FIU student right now, and I'm walking around now. All I'm doing is just spreading good vibes everywhere, right? So like, hey, nice tie. Hey, cool shoes. Nice haircut. Change that shirt. Don't say that. That's rude. But generally speaking, I'm just going around making people laugh, making people smile, and they're just having a better day and just trying to be a little bit more active in my community where I am a citizen of, right? I'm not from here necessarily. I'm from Cairo. I've always been from Cairo. That's probably not going to change. But I am a member of this community. I am a member of Miami. And I am an active citizen in the sense that I want to make this city better. I want to make this community better because I'm a part of it, right? And that's how I become an active citizen personally. Like, this is just how I see it personally, is like, I will make people smile, I will make people laugh, and maybe make sure we don't flood in 30 years. But, everybody has their own path. And then Jhonery will go a little bit more in detail about what it looks like for more of a vague.
Very well. And Active citizenship also connects to voting. So one of you mentioned voting. Another person mentioned democracy, like being an active person in the democracy of your country. So all of those relate. This is a little cycle that we thought it could be like interesting to see. So active citizenship is also a cycle. It goes with the planning, then you take the action, and then you measure the impact. So on the planning part, you find out what the issue is, who you can help, how would you know if it will be successful, and then you plan and get ready. So that all takes place in the get plan, like plan how you're going to be an active citizen. Then on the take action, it is just one step, and it is put all your plans into action. So sometimes when we're putting the plans into actions, there are going to be like some things that we weren't expecting, and that's okay. We need to stay flexible, and by staying flexible, we can improve, and then we can come up with other solutions that are going to make an impact in our society. And then the last step, it is the time to reflect and to evaluate yourself. Not just evaluate the plan that you put together, also evaluate your feelings, because sometimes we get exposed. I'm just going to give one example. You might go to a shelter, a homeless shelter, and you might see so many people in there that you don't see very often, but you get connected with them, you hear their stories, and then now you feel emotional about it. So it's also a matter of reflecting and then seeing what you learn from it and what you learn about yourself as well, while you're going through the process.
So I have a quick question. Who knows a lot of people at FIU that just go to school and then go home, go to sleep, wake up, go to school, go home, go to sleep? One. Do you know like a lot of people? Or do you mean like you? I don't know. Oh. It is a very big grad school student mentality. I just graduated with my master's in May, and we were a group of like maybe 55 kids. Maybe 4 of us were engaged on campus. That's it. And the general excuse is like, oh, I'm in grad school. So am I, bro. Who else? Who know? Like, just raise your hands. You don't have to like tell me them. But right, you know a lot of people at FIU that's probably just like, oh, I'm too busy for this, or I don't want to schedule my time around it. And then they're like, oh, but I'm gonna be successful just because I'm gonna get my degree and I'm gonna move on, and that's perfect. And yes, getting your degree is amazing. Get your degrees for your plan. But if that's all you're doing, and you're not being more engaged, you're not being a little bit more like active, you're not being an active citizen, you're not having that global impact, you're not becoming, you're not joining 1,000 clubs at FIU, you're not joining all these different programs that departments have, you're not getting your global learning medallion, then are you really going to be that competitive when you are done and when you are looking towards your future and you are trying to get that dream job or dream startup or dream whatever you have? Probably not as easy as if you were super ready and active, right? That resume of yours will not be super stacked. You won't have all these different leadership opportunities that you could have. You wouldn't be able to sit down in an interview and be like, oh, I did my global learning medallion. I did these specific classes because that's what I had to do. I went and got these points because I was in an ISSS program. I didn't study abroad. Little one for me. But I didn't study abroad or go anywhere necessarily. I just kind of studied, got my degrees, and came back. And that's part of what we're trying to explain to you guys today, and just hopefully you'll also explain to your friends and the rest of the community, is that a student who wants to be successful really, really, really has to try and be a lot more active and a lot more just active in general. You need to, sorry, sometimes my brain stops, but you need to be a lot more active as a student. You need to be a lot more engaged in the community, because if you're not, you won't learn about your passions as much, you won't learn about your values as much, you won't be able to develop that leadership skills that you really want to get the jobs that you're looking for or get the career path that you're looking for, and maybe you'll even switch your entire career completely. Very quick story. I was a mechanical engineering major for like 3 years, and then because I was a little bit more active on campus and because I got into a lot more organizations on campus, I switched to political science. Not a fun conversation with my parents, but I did it, and I'm very glad and I'm very happy I did it, because I became a lot more active, I learned about my passions, and well, here I am, talking to y'all. Oh, is this still me? Oh, my bad. So how do we get engaged? How do we get engaged in our community? We're talking a lot about just all these different things. But you guys are at FIU. How do you get a lot more engaged here on campus? Yes. Wait. Sorry.
Well, first, I'm going to ask what activities are available on campus and what clubs. And then I would reach out to, each specific club. Like right now I'm a freshman and I wanted to get involved. And one of the reasons is because I want to go to med school and they want to see that you're involved and engaged in your university and community. So I started asking like my advisors and they told me, go to this website or go here and go there. And also the tables outside, like I would come up to them and ask them. So that's one way to get engaged. And also not just like in FIU, you can also be engaged outside of FIU. Like you can do volunteering at a hospital or something. Like I'm already doing that. And yeah, stuff like that. Thank you.
Thank you. What else? If it's not clubs, if it's not volunteering, how do you get engaged person? Oh, Claudia, go first. I'm sorry.
I also said you don't need much to get engaged. It's just the desire to do something. And if you have that desire to get engaged in anything, you'll find it.
Diana.
Knowing your resources on campus, student engagement looks different for different students. So student engagement might look different from an undergrad versus master's students. Like some of us who are in masters know that during the day we're either at work or during our graduate assistantship, whatever. So our student engagement might need to be more targeted towards evening opportunities. They do exist at FIU. There is something for everyone. You kind of just need to reach out to different departments and different resources on campus in order to find it. It might not just, it doesn't only have to be clubs, how Tarek said.
And I think it's also to get engaged, you have to really be passionate about what you're getting engaged with, like not just joining something for the sake of joining it or for the sake of building your resume, but also for the sake of like you really have a passion for this and you know that like once you start working with this program, you're going to get more involved. And like you also realize that because it stirs something within you. Like when you join an organization or a group or you start volunteering with somewhere that you're really passionate, it really like it changes the way that you get engaged with it.
You guys get it, and I'm so happy.
I think in college in general, and especially FIU, which is a really big school, we have so many opportunities that I thought the same thing, like go after what you already know you're passionate about, but also get out of your comfort zone and try new things. Because at least for me, I know like I came from a really small high school, so there's like 500 clubs here and there were 20 in my school, so there's definitely something that I can explore. So I think it's like thinking what could possibly interest you and go after it.
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
Okay. Also, like getting engaged, I feel like you shouldn't like. We all know that one person who's like, oh yeah, I'll join this club next year. I'll do this next semester. It's more like being active now. Like if you have time for it, make the time about something like you're interested in. Because that, oh, I'll do it next semester. Once you get to the semester, it'll like turn into, oh, I'll do it next year and this, that. I feel like getting engaged early on with something you're interested in, then you can build and then you can expand. Even if you don't like that, then you have time to change and go find something else.
Last one.
It's really important also to get involved in like the wider community outside of FIU, because FIU to an extent it lives in its own like bubble, and like some of the students who go to FIU will be facing the same problems as the wider community, but there are also issues unique to the wider community, and a lot of people like who've lived here their whole lives, and obviously that's part of the student body as well. But like oftentimes FIU will have events where they have like outside speakers and they bring people in from the wider community to speak on campus, and you can get involved by talking to those people if it's something you're passionate about. And that's the way I've been introduced to a lot of things in the wider area of Miami.
You guys hit it perfectly. So 2 sides of engagement, right? I want to join clubs. I want to try different opportunities. I want to go outside of FIU and learn what's happening in the environment. And also the personal side. I'm not really sure what my passion is yet, but I need to figure it out, and I need to be open and accepting of the fact that I need to find my passions in life so I can follow through. I need to learn a little bit more about who I am, learn a little bit more about my values, learn a little bit more about just generally what I'm interested in and what my friends are interested in, because we might be different. I don't have to just follow through with them. I'll just go make new friends somewhere else in a different club, and that'll be my new squad for that situation. But that is what engagement is, and a lot of times we just have to be accepting of it, because when we first start off college, it's really overwhelming. There's 500 or 1,000 clubs at FIU. Don't really know where these clubs are or how to find them all the time, because you just started, and that's okay. And you just have to kind of take it step by step and find these resources, like Diana was saying, that can help you out, because there's so much out here. It's in FIU and out of Miami that it's very easy to find, but it's also very difficult to navigate through if you don't ask for help, or if you're not even like trying necessarily yet. But
Perfect. Okay. So Tarek shared a little bit about his story and how he switched his career because he felt that he was more involved. In my case, it was pretty much the engagement happened over time, like throughout the years. When I was a student, I wasn't as engaged as I should have. And then this is a commuter school, so I was working all the time. And then when I come to school, it was just to study, do my homework, and connect with my professors and so on. But then along the way, I was able to find that cross-cultural experiences, they really connected with me. And getting to know people from other countries, and then getting to know people from all parts of the world really connected with me. And that allowed me to find a passion into what I now do, which is international education. How did that happen? It happened through a study abroad. And we're going to go a little bit in depth on, well, not in depth, but we're going to present a little bit on study abroad because my friend here works for study abroad. But study abroad exposed me to a different setting. I am from Venezuela, and I moved here when I was 15 years old. But I did my high school, and most of my education was in the United States. So the first cross-cultural experiences that I count is the one that I experienced when I studied abroad. That experience connected me into the passion that I share with you, and also with a passion for service as well. When I work in the hospitality industry, I found myself multiple times doing things for other associates, creating wellness programs so we can connect with each other, or going to a park and do cleanups, or even go to shelters and do a meal serving. So all of that allowed me to find something that I liked and something that I was passionate about. When I did my master's program, things were a little bit different. I wanted to be more involved, but now I didn't have the time. Of course, because master level is a little bit more advanced, so it requires a lot of reading and a lot of projects and so on. But I was able to find a way to find people along the way that also connected with my passion for service. And this is just a quick slide on a little quote that I found online. It says, so do you want to change the world? And then that's what the dad tells the little kid. And then I am not alone. And then the little kid says, I'm not alone. We are just these pairs, but we're going to find each other. So the same thing I share with all of you. Maybe you know your passion. Maybe you're in the way of finding that passion that you have. And just know that there are other people out there that they share the same ideas, or they share the same vision to create an impact in this world. So as I promised, we're going to talk a little bit about study abroad.
all right, time for the plug. Everybody go study abroad right now. Right now. The deadline is next week. No, but like Jhonery said, a lot of times it takes a little bit of time to find your interest. It takes a little bit of time to find that purpose or mission that you want to go on for the rest of your life. And one of the ways that you can find it is by studying abroad, is by just going and experiencing something new and experiencing a different culture for a semester, for a year, for a few weeks. And that's really what the office is trying to do for students is, hey, we have this opportunity, and hey, it's not as expensive as people might. Who here has ever heard that study abroad is very expensive? Because that's what I heard before I started. Y'all, it's a lie. These are myths. Tell your friends, this is a lie. You pay the same thing you would pay at FIU for most of our programs, or less sometimes. But that is actually very important. Please tell your friends. So studying abroad really does help out if you are interested in getting that global mindset in going somewhere for a semester, in going somewhere for a year, even just for a couple of weeks, and you want to just go experience maybe Latin America, if you want to go to Asia, if you want to go to Europe, if you want to go to Africa, hint, hint, Egypt. But no, actually, we don't have any partnerships in Egypt. But maybe you're interested. You never know. And a lot of research is done on why studying abroad is super important. And FIU has an emphasis on making sure that we double, triple, quadruple the number of students that go abroad every year, because it makes you a lot more independent. A lot more independent. I moved here 8 years ago. I didn't study abroad technically in this sense, but I mean, I had to learn everything all over. How do you do everything? How do you clean? How do you cook? How do you dress sometimes very well, or however it is, but just how to be on your own completely and taking care of yourself. And it changes the way you see the world and changes the way you see yourself. It makes you a lot more, in the sense that you are independent, it makes you also very responsible. You make sure that your grades are always on point. You make sure that your GPA goes higher. And not surprisingly, there is research that proves that when you do study abroad, your GPA increases. And that when it comes to just employment in general, having that study abroad experience also gives you that edge. Only 2% of FIU students go abroad through study abroad every now and then, or maybe less even. But 2% of 55,000 students, if you go abroad, you're already in that competitive edge of, hey, I've been on there, I've done this, I'm responsible in that sense. And it makes people want you even more because you bring in an extra perspective that they won't have in other people. And that'll be my study abroad pitch. Come to the office, learn about our office.
Okay, so I also wanted to talk to you guys about a program that our office, International Student Services, has for all students. It is called the International Community Engagement Project. This program started last year, and it is considered a 6-month commitment where you are with a group of students that share the same vision, which is service learning. And we put together workshops where you learn about human rights, sustainability, homelessness, and then other issues that we have in our day-to-day life. We also have a partnership with different nonprofit organizations as well in South Florida, and we try to do outreach projects abroad by doing the Shoebox of Joy, where the students filled out a box with goodies and then they send it abroad to a child in need. So all of these are like different projects that we felt that there was a necessity, especially because our international students, they're very limited when it comes to opportunities to do volunteer work. And that's how it all started. The students were expressing, I want to volunteer, but I don't know how. We do have an amazing resource at FIU, which is the Center for Leadership and Service, but sometimes our students felt that they need a little bit more guidance. So that's how the project started, just as a bridge between FIU and nonprofit organizations, so the students can get engaged more, and they can start building out those resumes as well. As international students, they're also very limited when it comes to employment or doing internships outside of FIU. So we also wanted to provide them with resources within our office so they can get access to nonprofit organizations as well. This project, as I said, it starts in the fall semester. It is a 1 year. We have applications open, so you're welcome to check our website and then find more details in there. But I just wanted to talk a little bit about it because it also provides, besides the community engagement level, it provides the students with the opportunity to apply for the Engage Global Citizens contest. And then this is also for ISEP students only, and they get to apply, present an idea about tackling a social issue. And then the students that get selected, we take them to Washington, D.C. so they can connect with nonprofit organizations, and they can also understand a little bit more the U.S. democracy, and then how it works all the way from head down. This past year, we went to different organizations such as Save the Children, American Red Cross, just to mention a few. But we had seen a transformation experience in our students, and we want to just make sure that the rest of FIU knows about it, because we know that it is creating an impact on our students and is connecting you to all those things that you care about as well. Okay, so I'm going to switch back to...
Cool. So a lot of different stories, a lot of different questions that we're asking, but really the thing that like hits it at the end is what can we do, right? What do we do? What's next? After you leave this, what are you going to be doing? How are you going to make sure that you become more active as a citizen here of FIU? How are you going to be a successful student? How are you going to be engaged? What do y'all think? What's the answers? Yes.
There's a 9/11 Day of Service this Saturday. I think it's the 14th. So you can sign up to that online if you just like Google 9/11 Day of Service. And they provide free transport from the MMC to the BBC. So they do that sometimes. I think they do an MLK one as well in the spring. That's just a little one, but they also have like nature preserve volunteering days. Those are pretty cool. They have lots. They have like some opportunities to volunteer on campus, and you get to go outside in nature as well, which is good.
I think also by becoming a mentor to other people, like people have this idea that a mentor has to be or much older than you or much more experienced, and you can just impact other people by the knowledge that you have that someone else might not have. So just getting other people to be engaged and passing on this information to them, that's a next step.
Or even reverse it and find a mentor if you don't have one yet. That will also help out. Be a mentor to somebody too.
Sorry, I just want to say along those lines, like beyond just being a mentor in your day-to-day life, they do also have like official mentoring programs at FAU. So you can apply to be an LGBT mentor, and you can apply to be a male mentor for the male mentorship program, like male-to-male mentoring. They probably have some other ones, but those are just the ones that I'm aware of. So like if you want to actually get something to put on your CV to do with that, like, and of course you can also be mentored if you want to apply to be a mentee. So.
And then what can you do for yourself? Because remember when we talked about success and student engagement, it's two parts. What about the second part? If you don't have your passion yet, if you're not really comfortable public speaking, if you're not really very comfortable in a specific situation or like something that you want to improve on, how can you improve on that necessarily? And you don't have to answer, it's just something for us to think about, because I don't want people to start telling me what their fears are, but just in general, think about the things that you want to improve in yourself and how you can go out there and just make sure that you're stepping out of your comfort zone and doing the things that you want to do, but are maybe just a little bit afraid to do them, because we all have them. You can go if you want, yeah?
I just want to say, I think there's this like misconception a lot of the time that you have to be like really passionate about something or focused on something to put any time into it. But it's the opposite, you know, because if you don't put any time into anything, then you're never going to get good at anything. And you don't have to like have a specific passion to something to apply for something or to spend, you know, hours and hours doing something. It might just be something that looks interesting, so you want to try it out. And even if that involves putting a lot of time into it and it doesn't turn out to be the thing that you end up doing with the rest of your life, like it's still a useful thing and it will still almost certainly enrich you. So like it's not about having a crazy passion for one thing, it's about trying lots of things, and that's what university is a really good opportunity to do.
All right. So our session was tied to a New York Times article that talked about study abroad and engagement and service learning. So I just wanted to bring a couple of quotes from this article into our presentation as well, because the title of the article was "From Albania to Singapore, U.S. students look for a tailored experience abroad." And while reading the article, I found myself looking at different ideas that the students had, but when they got exposed to the setting where it was happening, like the flood that they had in Albania, the students arrived there and then they were like, wait a second, the idea that we had about fixing this is not going to work because the citizens need something else. So when it comes to engagement as well, and then doing something that you feel that the world needs, sometimes we also need to take that step back and have that conversation with people that are going through that. And then be flexible about it. Try to accommodate the ideas that you have, or try to just come up with a new idea. Because sometimes we might think, oh, they need this. And when you arrive to the location, that's not really what they need. Maybe they need something else. When we went to the American Red Cross, we also came across a fellow that was doing a fellowship at the American Red Cross, and he experienced that as well in Ecuador. He was saying that he went to little villages where there were children, and then they had like this whole curriculum put together for them. And when they arrived there, they found themselves trying to do something else because the students weren't ready to learn that material. So The article really emphasized on that, and then it also says that we are not in this world to try to emphasize our agenda into other cultures. We had to appreciate that we're all different, and we had to also make sure that we connect with people for what they are, and not try to bring just a different idea that, oh, this is what's going to work because it works in my country. Okay. So, and then be more open about it. All of you share that as well, that we had to be more open. Coming out of our comfort zone, sometimes it is really tricky, especially when we are put in a situation where we're not comfortable of doing it. But the more that you do it, the more comfortable that you feel. And I can use myself as an example. In many situations that I have been at, even in presentations, the more that you do it, the more comfortable that you feel. And then be engaged in what you love. I know you shared that it doesn't have to be really what you love, but yes, and you're absolutely right. One of the things that our students from the ISEC project had expressed is that they really like that we expose them to different things, coming from education to poverty to homelessness to sustainability. And there were projects when we went to the nature preserve and we tried to help out in taking out invasive species, and then it was a lot of work, and then we were like, the students are not gonna like this. They loved that project because it connected to the nature. They got to learn something new. They got to share time with professors as well that dedicate their time and volunteer their time just to be there for the students as well. So be engaged in what you love. Once you find it, that is going to be amazing. But while you are in the journey of finding what you love, just try to be engaged in as many things as you can. So resources at FIU, a lot of you had shared, wonderful resources. And then we also have here the Global Medallion, which we're here today. And you're gonna get points for this session. A study abroad program. The Center for Leadership and Service has amazing things as well. I had the opportunity to meet with staff members in that office, and they're doing great things on leadership as well for students to get leadership skills. They have the Civic Engagement Medallion as well, and different retreats for leadership. Alternative breaks, it is within that office. And then there are also grants. So if you have ideas that you want to put something together because you want to create a social impact in your home country or here in the United States or whatever the mission is, there are grants that they offer to students. So make sure that you visit them and you use those resources because they're here for all of you. ISEP already mentioned it, and then Tarek was a member of UNICEF and also ISEC, so he can share a little bit more on the projects that they do as well.
Okay, so we just try to get like a bunch of different resources from FIU, and ISEC and UNICEF there are two different clubs on campus that I was personally involved in, and that's why we're specifically like mentioning them, but obviously there's thousands of them. But just for y'all's information, so ISEC is a leadership organization here on campus that helps students get out of their comfort zone a little bit, and they send them abroad on volunteer and internship opportunities. So with ISEC, I went to Colombia for 2 months. In Medellin, I worked with kids and taught English and got to experience living abroad with a host family, with a Colombian host family. And I was surrounded by a bunch of volunteers from all around the world. It was around 60 of us in my experience, and maybe like 10 were from Mexico, 5 were from Spain, 6 were from Germany, 7 from Albania. And it was, for me, it was just a great experience and a great opportunity for me to learn a lot about just so many different cultures and just be in that kind of situation. I don't even speak Spanish, but I mean, kind of now, a little bit. It's a little embarrassing, but it's fine. And then UNICEF, obviously, if you know UNICEF, then on campus they work a lot with fundraising and getting people engaged and understanding what's going on in the world in terms of how to help children, how to save in that sense. And it was just a great experience for me to be in UNICEF, and obviously I advocate for you guys to go and experience that as well.
Very good. All right, and then the next slide is just about connecting with nonprofits. These are nonprofit organizations that we have both supported. So we just wanted to put their logos out there just to give you the information in case that you're interested in being part of any of them. So I love my city. It is something that I do with my church. Once a month we meet, and then they have different projects where we go into the community, either to do a cleanup in a school, or to do some painting, or to share food in a shelter service. So it's like different projects that they do is once a month, it really connects you with people from different backgrounds and with at-risk children as well. They also have partnerships with the His House Children Home, which is more like a foster center that tries to create like a parenting environment for the kids. And they have activities that you can do with the kids on the regular basis, or you can just plan with a group of students and then also go a group of friends as well. Chapman Community for Homeless is something that I have been, it's an organization that I have been supporting for already like 9 years. It is a shelter center located in downtown Miami. Usually I go either with family, friends, or now with students to serve a meal to the residents in there. And this is an amazing center because it also provides them with resources to get out of poverty. Meaning that they train them on interview skills. They try to find job placement for them. So they do different things to provide them with the resources that they need to succeed in society. So that's why I really like them. And then I try to volunteer as much time as I can with them. And then we also have the Nicholas Children's Hospital. Personally, I hadn't done volunteer with them, but I have a colleague, Claudia, who has done volunteer with them, with the kids, decorating cupcakes, and then just bringing 1 hour of joy for those days that they had to spend in the hospitals. And then Tarek had volunteered with UNA and Big Brothers Big Sister.
So if you ever want to like mentor basically little children, I don't remember the age range, but I think the max is like 16. Big Brothers Big Sisters is a really cool program all around the United States. Here in Miami also very big. Their office is in Coral Gables, and the one I did specifically was a school-based program. So once a week, or based on your availability, you'd go to the school kind of after school during like a class period, and then you just spend 1 hour with your little brother or little sister, and you just kind of talk and learn, and maybe if there's homework you can help them out with, and it's just somebody to listen and somebody to like just have a little fun with sometimes for the kid, not necessarily for you. Help the child out, it's not about you. But the other thing is the UNA. So UNA offers free membership to anybody under the age of 26. If anybody's interested, you just Google UNA USA membership and you find Miami from there. And what we do is we promote a lot of different events for sustainable development and sustainable development goals, which which are these. So if you don't know what these are the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals for the year 2030. And this kind of perfectly relates to, she's not here anymore, but the girl that was talking about how to act locally and think globally. Because the UN Sustainable Development Goals are essentially 17 goals on how we can hopefully in a very optimistic manner save the world by 2030. And they are a set of goals with very specific targets and indicators if you look through on the UN website. And every chapter specifically for UNA all around the US is trying to promote them by creating events, forums, etc. So if anybody's ever interested in locally trying to create a change with the SDGs, feel free to join. Or just so you guys are aware in general, anything that you do on your own, if you just go plant a tree, if you just go volunteer somewhere, if you do feeding the homeless, etc., it's always affecting the greater global impact somehow, because it is being measured by some entity, by somebody, obviously the UN in this situation. So always remember that even the smallest of acts on a local level affect really the global image or the global scale of these indicators that are being worked on. Questions? Yes. We're just gonna, there. Questions, comments, concerns, no jokes, but not today. Does anyone have any questions or comments or Yes. 1 second, I'm sorry. I say yes too quickly.
Getting involved with like the nonprofit organizations, like it seems like really interesting. How am I able to like get in contact with those organizations, or how can I connect with them to like be part of it?
If it's any of these specific nonprofits that we showed you, you can come talk to us and Jhonery will have a contact or I'll have a contact. If it's another organization, if you just go on the website, usually they'll have volunteer buttons or some number somewhere that you can just contact. And it does take the fact that you'd have to just call and be like, hey, I'm really interested in helping out. And nobody's ever going to say no to volunteering. So, but definitely come up to us if you want.
If I may add, but just by approaching local offices here at FIU, we all work in creating community partners. So definitely we are a resource as well. Like he said, they have those connections. Our office has those connections, and that's why it's so important to keep up and be engaged on campus, and also for the networking.
And also, there are some websites for these nonprofit organizations or any nonprofit organization that is going to have an area or volunteer. So you click in there, it's going to send that message over to someone that is in charge of the volunteer program, and they will reach out to you as well. The Nicholas Children's Hospital, they do have a form that you fill it out and you send that to them. It even has the name of the person that is in charge of that. And then the Little Lighthouse has a calendar of events. Like every single day, they have something. And then you just need to see how many students or how many people can go per event. And then if they have space, you sign up for it and you just present yourself. Okay.
For international students, do we need like another step, like have the ISSS approve something, or is it the same procedure? Is there like more paper for the non-profit organizations?
Very good question. International students are welcome to volunteer with any nonprofit. So any nonprofit organization that is listed as nonprofit, you are welcome to go and volunteer without getting any authorization from our office. Okay? Any other questions? Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much. If you haven't signed in, please sign in before you leave. And of course, if you have the forms for the Global Learning Medallion, come to Taylor and I and we'll sign it. Thank you so much, Tarek and Jhonery. It was wonderful. Thank you.